Visibility is super, super important. Without visibility, the community is invisible. And if something is invisible, it doesn't exist. And I think that is the root of the problem. I never came out because I didn't feel like it was necessary.
She pointed at me across the hallway in front of everyone and just screamed, I knew he was gay. And the next day I was just the talk of the entire school.
Even though I said I never really came out, I guess I did way later in life compared to some of my other friends.
I am gay, identify as gay.
I grew up in Martinez, California, which is in the San Francisco Bay Area. My parents have always been supportive of the LGBT community. Even watching films, they would always make sure to reinforce to my sisters and I that it was something that was normal. Being in a more international environment now, I'm realizing that other cities and other countries are not the same.
I'm from Long Island, New York. I had my small group of friends who were accepting of me. My parents, they were more worried about me and for my sake and what other people could do to me. These kids would be like joking about me maybe in the locker room, and I didn't really care what the other kids at school thought about me.
I don't think I really fear anything, but I think that in and of itself is where my fear lies.
As a gay man, I fear discrimination, just having someone judge me purely based on my sexual orientation rather than getting to know me.
Discrimination to me is just treating someone as less than they should be treated. To me, that's the easiest definition.
Having a prejudice towards someone, disregarding who they are and where they come from.
And I'm very fortunate to have only ever lived in places where I haven't been discriminated against. So when I see it in the news, it's like, oh, right, that happens to other people.
When I see discrimination happening, at first I think I get indignant, a bit angered.
It shocks me back to the real world. I'll be the first one to admit that if I grew up in a different community where it wasn't as encouraged, I probably would have never explored it as an option and never would have come out, I guess.
Most definitely my relationship with the community would have been different had I not grown up where I grew up. I can only imagine growing up in a more rural location or in a different country where it's not even legal to be openly gay.
If I get married and want to go on a vacation somewhere with my wife, then we're going to have to be careful of how we act depending on where we go. And because I don't have an innate fear ingrained in me, I won't have checks on my behavior, which could potentially put me in danger. So that's just the one lingering fear in the back of my mind.
I am not one generally for public affection. I usually am comfortable with holding hands, and maybe the boy I was with was more worried than I was, and I think that's a huge issue.
I feel like nowadays with representation, it's getting better. But at the same time, I think the media still has a lot to learn.
All the stereotypes that hit the books, I guess, the ones where the gay male is going to Madonna concerts, I don't like Madonna that much.
Before, in movies, if there were lesbian couples, there was always a very clear, stereotypical looking lesbian that needed to be there in order, I think, to portray to the audience that, yes, this is in fact a lesbian couple. So if there could be a broader spectrum of how lesbians look in films, that would be great.
I think that hostility and putting each other down needs to be fixed before we can go forward.
Still need to bring it into the communities, introduce real people to other real people. So from my perspective, I would say being a lesbian is an invisible identity. Like, for example, when you look at me, gay isn't the first thing that comes to mind. So with visibility, we can normalize and we can improve situations and we can show people why things need to change.
I believe that pride and different rallies definitely do serve their purpose.
I think Events like Pride definitely help with visibility, even where the community is accepted. It's already something that's not taboo here. I think it still has the potential to influence other cities around the world. Trying to educate people, hey, remember the history, remember why we have this event, remember that it's here for a purpose. And so I think as long as we keep doing that and keep educating people, hopefully in the end, it'll turn out just fine.
As a minority group, we need to make our voices heard.
I feel super optimistic about the future. Even just within the past 5 years, the past 10 years, I've seen a lot of good progress, more good progress than any little setbacks. I think we just need to continue to normalize same-sex couples.
Saying that, yeah, we're here and we're not going anywhere.
Visibility is so important.
I'm Joe Fontana.
My name is Caitlin Cunningham.
I am here.
I am here.
And I'm not going anywhere. I am who I am, and being gay is it's another part of me.
That's a wrap. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. It's been lovely.